Boneraiser Minions 1.0 just dropped out of early access and it is eating up all my spare time. Today's busy gamer has less time and money than ever, so it comes as no surprise that titles which provide a solid 15 or 20 minutes of satisfying progression are starting to become more and more popular. Take the breakout success of last year's pixel-packing horde battler Vampire Survivors, which has led to a nearly uncountable amount of copycats. And with good reason, it's just as easy to get sucked into that game's hypnotizing one more run loop as it is to find forums full of VS enjoyers debating their favorite builds and characters. New games attempting to capture this lightning have to stand out and bring something to the table. Now this game dares to do more than VS in nearly every aspect, superseding it in almost every way. Even more surprising is that it's been released by a single developer working out of Game Maker of all things. Wow. I checked into the UK-based solo developer K's and found out they've been hard at work making a variety of roguelites, puzzlers, and platformers for over a decade, but it looks like with Boneraiser Minions he might finally have his hands on a hit. So today, we're going to show you why this game is the best value you'll get out of $5 this year. My name is Boss Sauce.
And I'm Rollin' Coons. And together, we are the two-headed hero.
Now, Boneraiser Minions starts out with a simple premise. You're a Boneraiser, an undead necromancer of ill repute fresh from a long nap in the crypt.
Our story is about a man with nobler ambitions.
As the intro scroll tells you, the heavenly forces have long ago put Boneraisers to rest, but King Giggold, the lord of the realm, has gotten wind of your resurrection and wants your skull. He'll send every last one of his heavenly forces to put it in a box for his bedside table. There's an 8-bit pixel art style that might not vibe with everyone, but I liked it quite a bit. Adorable little Halloween-themed chunky pixel guys clash against fantasy chibi knights and cartoony beasties across suitably spooky backdrops. The game runs in a sort of permanent dark mode, and although there's some accessibility options to make it easier to parse, it does make the footage look a little dark on compressed formats like the old U of Tubes or Twitter. It suffers from some of the same problem as Vampire Survivors by easily being able to lose your Boneraiser when all sorts of action is popping off in this joint. But overall, I really enjoyed the visual style. Along with the 8-bit art, we have some 8-bit sounds, which are legitimate as fuck, sounding like they rip straight from an NES chip, even down to a couple digitized speech growls. Music tracks are chiptune fare, but they still slap pretty hard, ranging from relaxing music, like this, to some bumpin' battle beats. Gameplay-wise, you have some similarities to Vampire Survivors, so we'll just get those out of the way right off the bat. First of all, in Boneraiser Minions, you move around your defenseless little Skeletor with stick, Wisad, or directional pad, avoiding hordes of meanies and waves of lethal projectiles for as long as possible. Instead of gathering gems and gold to level up your survivor and bolster your arsenal, BM has you sucking bones into your hungry little pockets in order to raise new horrifying companions from the grave. To be fair, you'll be grabbing up a lot of loot as well to upgrade and build your domain, and stealing the souls of heroes to power up your moldering magician. But here's where the similarities end. Rather than dishing out a bullet hell's worth of damage with your own two hands by purchasing weapons and upgrades, your moldy minions do all the dirty work. You raise, upgrade, and combine minions to further unlock different minion variants to use in the future, and your only objective is to somehow survive the waves of peasants, beasts, and crusaders long enough to kick the royal ass of the king himself, freeing you to spread your scourge far across the lands and ending your run. This is, of course, much easier said than done, since your time to kill is somewhat low and the danger level ramps up quickly. But Boneraiser Minions provides players with a ton of tools to give them an edge against the heavenly hordes. When it comes to mechanical depth, Boneraiser Minions has more layers than an onion.
Oh, you leave them out in the sun, they get all brown, start sprouting little white hairs. No!
Layers!
The first one is the dash. The simple addition of a dash button makes the game feel much more interactive than the source of its inspiration, and adds an entire new dimension. The dash can be charged up to make a long dash across the arena, and it can also be altered by items to do damage to enemies, leave fire trails, and provide temporary haste, just to name a few. Secondly, we have the scrolls. A ton of scroll-based consumable spells are unlockable for use by your skeletal sorcerer. Some of these are simply big damage dealers meant to get you out of a tight spot, but others temporarily alter your minions, shower you with some goodies, or even buff the forces of good while providing you with more bones to suck when you kill them. The third layer to this onion is the arena. So instead of Vampire Survivors' approach of an expansive or limitless arena, BM keeps it pretty tight. You're confined to a little rectangle of a graveyard in the beginning. But progress achievements also unlock additional, more challenging arenas for later play. These add obstacles and traps to the mix as well as more meanies to mash, but the payoff is more potential score. However, a ton of moment-to-moment choices can take place on the field itself. Treasure chests appear from time to time, providing a risk and reward since they take time to open, and slowing down for even a second can be a death sentence. The trinkets you find in these chests can range from jewels and scrolls to powerful relics that can change up the way your Boneraiser or your minions work, adding yet another layer to the meta. Once in a while, you'll be faced with random encounters, which could be a merchant, an innocent villager that you can choose to eat or not, or something else entirely. Some of these seem to serve as flavor text or achievement food, but others can reward you with relics or scrolls for the trouble of dealing with it. But the biggest difference in the arenas is the way that Boneraiser Minions allows you to build them yourself. Early on, you can unlock the ability to build structures in the arenas that help you out, like little snares or traps, buffs to your minion caps, or even some sacrificial snacks that can give your hearts right back. But either way, this control over the field of play is just another layer of strategy to this unholy onion.
Layers!
Speaking of which, we have the upgrade system. Sure, you can upgrade your spooky summoner with fancy powers and perks, but it does not stop there. Summoning unknown entities to your skeleton squad unlocks different combinations and variants that can be summoned in the future. And you can see it all on this handy little map. But interestingly enough, BM has an entire upgrade path for the enemy forces, and I don't really think I've seen another one of these horde battlers approach it in quite the same way. Upgrading your enemies rolls into even more achievements and score potential and bone suckage, but ups the challenge significantly, and all the upgrade paths can be reverted at any time to make the gameplay just as you want it to. The last layer of this upgrade onion is the mausoleum. The mausoleum serves as a source for achievements, unlocking even more features and hidden modes. Building certain bookcases and workbenches within your little hideout can unlock some new features and even cosmetics. Hitting certain milestones and unlocking certain spooky bros can unlock new character classes. Each of these have their own customizable soul-hungry upgrade paths, which can be turned on and off at your leisure in order to optimize the build of your Boneraiser as well. One of the most brilliant options allows you to keep your run going after you administer a royal ass whooping to King Geigold. This new game plus endless mode starts you back at the beginning of wave 1 with all of your goodies and minions intact while ramping up the challenge level significantly. And there's still more. Hitting certain hidden goals literally opens new doors to you in the mausoleum, including challenge modes and an entire card minigame. That's right, cards can be found dropped in the field or won during your dungeony exploits and are added to your deck at the end of a run. This game plays out somewhat similarly to Triple Triad from Final Fantasy VIII if you're familiar, but it has a few extra tricks and rules. It's a welcome turn-based diversion from the intensity that Boneraiser Minions presents. All of this together makes for an incredibly compelling loop that overflows with coffinfuls of content, and the next unlock or challenge always feels like it's just around the corner. There's honestly so much to discover here that I'm sure to gloss over or forget something. There's an inherent joy in unlocking those screen-clearing mega demons like the eyeball guy here, or filling the arena with flaming pools of poo, or discovering a new favorite giant skeleton minion. Giant Mage is my boy, but look at this pot!
Oh yeah.
So much incredible variety and synergy exists between the minions, the arena upgrades, the class builds, and the unlockables, and the combinations feel nearly limitless. What a deep meta for such a small piece of software, and I've yet to find something else that makes me hunger for just one more run, quite like Boneraiser Minions does. If you can tell me of another VS clone that reaches anywhere near this level of depth, please let me know in the comments. Now, so far, this whole review has been nothing but praise, but Boneraiser Minions isn't perfect. So the only complaints I have are relatively few and far between. For one, it would be nice to know exactly what killed you on the ending screen. There's no dramatic "I'm melting" animation like in VS, so just a simple "killed by this enemy" would be awesome. And as I mentioned earlier, there's the same problem that VS has with visibility. Yeah, there's a few options to make it a little easier to see your bony boy rolling around, but when the shit gets thick, survival can feel like a matter of luck rather than skill. One minor hang-up for some might be the writing. Now, the misuse of all the old English terminology in this game is definitely a hang-up for some, as is evidenced by a few Steam reviews. I didn't find it particularly bothersome. I thought it was goofy and well in line with the game's themes and charm. However, I will state that the humor is rather juvenile, so if this doesn't tailor to your tastes, then just be forewarned. Putting aside the obvious poop and boner jokes.
6.
Correct. Continue.
9.
One other thing I very much appreciated is Boneraiser Minions knows exactly what it is trying to be and wears its influences on its sleeve. Eagle-eyed players can catch references to Dark Souls and of course Vampire Survivors, among other popular monster-themed franchises. This last one is not really a shortcoming, but the fact that Boneraiser Minions doesn't share a one-handed control scheme philosophy might make it a little too sweaty or involved for the more casual VS clone enjoyer. Now, this is going to come down to a matter of taste. I love the more interactive additions of a dodge button and the usable spells, but those looking for a simple one-handed phone game might see them as more of a turnoff. Even with those minor complaints aside, this is the best $5 I've spent on games all year so far. There's a chunky amount of content here, and together Roland and I have estimated it at around 20 hours even just to unlock everything. That's without even touching the card game or alternative modes. It's an incredible value proposition. Plus, this game is a technical marvel showing off just what Game Maker can help achieve in a relatively short amount of time. Case keeps the content flowing even long after his games have been finished, and judging by the amount of updates Boneraiser's had in early access and beyond, we'll probably be in for a lot more content to keep us coming back to the Boneyard over and over. Right now on the spring Steam sale, the game is 20% off. So $4 instead of $5? I mean, if you haven't clicked off the video to go buy it now, this is your chance. But don't really click off the video yet, please, we're not quite done. So I must admit that this game was initially something we picked up for research on our own horde battler, Goblins Never Die, but it turned out to be an obsession to the point that it's kept me from getting some progress done this week. So, shameless plug, you can check out our game's progress by following us on Twitter and subscribing to the GND channel for clips of our coming features, or even go ahead and take the alpha for a spin on this itch.io page. We've also come out with some new ways to support the channel. Times are tough out there, so if you like what we do and you can spare a tip to our coffee page, we'd greatly appreciate it. A couple people have already gone ahead and supported them, so I'm showing their names on screen right now. Thank you very much. Hopefully we make some content that will encourage you to drop a few doubloons in our cup in the future. So when you donate to our coffee page, you know that money is going straight to us. YouTube memberships are also in the works. We're batting that idea back and forth as well. But before we want to do any sort of memberships, we want to make sure it's worth your while by giving something of value other than our glorious personalities. Of course, we'd have rewards similar to other channels, like getting your name in the credits, getting a Discord role in the Dun Generator server. One of the other things we're considering are some more conversational episodes that are more podcast style and less scripted. If you want to see an example, you can check out our video on 6 narrative choice games that you probably missed over the last year, which should be showing up on your screen right about here. Another thing we've been considering is a footage repository. Now, this would be a place where channel members can download our source game capture footage and freely use them in their own own projects as long as we're credited in the source. We play a lot of old and new games for the channel, and not all of it makes the cut into an episode, so let me know down below if this is something you might be interested in. And in other good news, we were accepted as a GOG affiliate recently, so if you see one of our reviews, probably for an older game, and you see that there's an affiliate link on there from us, it wouldn't hurt to buy the game through that link if you're interested in playing it yourself. It's just a little bit, but it can still help the channel. And if you want to support us but can't spare the doubloons, engagement goes a long ways. Dropping a like on this video, telling us what you want to see in the future, and sharing this vid with your buddies really helps small channels like us. So hit that subscribe button and touch the bell if you want to know when our next journey into the Gamosphere drops onto YouTube. Once again, I'm Boss Sauce, I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next Two-Headed Hero.